Relationships and the Ego's Influence in the Lower Realms. August 18, 2014. When the sun is shining and the flowers are blooming, this gives you incentive to allow your own inner sun to shine, your own inner flowers to bloom. Your existence harbors so much joy and beauty, and all you need to do is open up to it to start noticing it all around. Despite the pains and difficulties so many of you continue to struggle with, your existence can be as heavenly and free-flowing as you allow it to be. It simply takes the willingness to let your lives flow when you could otherwise rigidly stop yourselves from making progress, and with how strongly the sun has started to shine for many of you, we are confident that you'll choose the most positive and progressive path that's being laid out for you. We note that many of you struggle with relationship issues and similar things that keep your focus away from your innate self, the divine God spark that exists in each of you, and while externally focusing on relationships and similar things is understandable, we'll forever encourage you to bring your focus inward and ask yourselves what you can do to find and feel the love that seems missing for so many of you. With this said, we'll happily answer the first question a reader has provided us on this day. Question number 1, staying with a romantic partner. I wish to know if I'm making the highest decision now to break up with my current romantic partner. I shall not say further about our circumstances so not to influence the highest good channeled answer from you. Thanks so much and God bless you always. Yes, the subject of relationships is a strong and reinforced one, even in the minds of many conscious seekers. The conscious public embraces relationships largely because of the concept of twin flames, and if any of you feel like you have found your twin flame and should stick with him or her, we'll encourage you to always trust and follow your intuition. The subject of relationships and twin flames can be very difficult, because we note that many seekers search for love in the form of an external relationship, or an other half to complement the love they're starting to feel within. Even though twin flames are very real, connecting with your twin flame isn't required to find and feel the love you each carry within. In the case of our reader, we won't divulge information that's too specific for a couple of reasons, one being that our scribe isn't yet sensitive or receptive enough to receive explicit details regarding this question. We'll keep our response relatively simple and general and encourage our reader to put the relationship through a few basic tests. Internally ask a few basic questions about the partnership that should put the situation into perspective. The first question we'll recommend he ask is if he's receiving the proper amount of love, respect, and nurturance from his partner, and subsequently, if he's giving the proper amount back. While we don't encourage looking solely toward others to find these things, twin flame relationships are intended to provide them for both partners. If your partner doesn't offer you the respect and nourishment that helps a relationship thrive, they might not be committed to offering all of themselves to the relationship. Relationships, especially conscious ones, are always tricky, and we'll also recommend our reader ask himself if he feels whole and satisfied at the end of the day. Does he feel like his relationship is offering what he requires out of a partnership? Is it helping him live up to his fullest and purest standard as an incarnate light worker starseed, or does he feel inhibited? We'll encourage everyone to ask themselves this question, but we especially encourage our readers because everyone who comes to us with relationship-related problems is usually looking for a greater level of love, wholeness, and acceptance than they've found so far. They search for these things, outside of themselves in some cases, and on occasion, they'll meet up with their twin flame or find another partner who offers them everything they're looking for. Some relationships are a perfect fit, whereas others can become destructive if both people aren't willing to offer the aforementioned love, respect, and nurturance. Compassion is also an important part of any relationship, and we'll encourage our reader and his partner to reignite the compassion that's gone missing from so many relationships if they want to thrive. We can't offer our reader a specific answer in regards to whether or not he should leave his relationship, but we'll endlessly encourage him and everyone else to follow their heart and let their innate, intuitive love lead them back home. Now, we'll move on to our next question. Question number 2, did the ego create the lower vibrations? I'm currently reading a book titled, The Universe is a Dream, by Alexander Marquand. He claims the only way for humanity to wake up is to let go of all guilt, and forgive yourself and everyone else. He also claims that this 3D reality is a trap created by ego, to keep us coming back over and over again. What are your thoughts about this theory? He backs up these claims with facts and logic that make sense and are hard to refute. Indeed, one of the greatest and purest ways to create widespread change on your planet is to release all of the negative and self-destructive emotions, feelings, tendencies that keep you chained to your current state of consciousness. While many earthly souls are focused on externally changing your world, your planet can shift until each of you has done the necessary inner shifting, which includes releasing every emotion and feeling that keeps you from spiritually thriving. Many people, even many seekers, struggle with issues of guilt, fear, depression, hopelessness, and myriad other qualities that chain them to the lower realms, and if you want your planet to change, you'll have to release any unloving or fearful thoughts and emotions from your perception. We wouldn't necessarily say the lower vibrations were created entirely by the ego, and to understand our perspective, it's important to realize that they weren't originally created to keep souls enslaved. Every lower and higher dimension was created by Source in an effort to explore his or her own boundless creation, but lower interests have worked very hard to keep humanity and various other souls and collectives trapped in a spiritually depleted state of consciousness because they thrive from your spiritual unawareness. The more unawareness that exists, on Earth or anywhere else, the more you're susceptible to the control and influence of the aforementioned lower entities. While the lower vibrations weren't originally intended to keep you trapped, the interests and thought forms who connect through the rigid egos of the people they seek to entrap, have worked hard to keep you at your current level. The best way you can answer to these entities is to enjoy a greater level of physical and spiritual freedom than you would have thought possible. Liberate yourselves from the collectively enforced illusion by aligning with the divine, and expressing the resulting love and joy to everyone you come across. Don't let the entities who thrive from your unawareness feed off of your energy, and instead, become aware of everything that's been hidden by anchoring yourselves in the open and brimming heart. A shift out of the ego. It might be difficult for some to believe that living in love will teach you more about your existence than reading every spiritual text under the sun, but this is indeed true. You'd learn so much if you made a simple shift out of the ego and into the heart. And when you open your minds and let Spirit speak through you, your learning will really begin. We and plenty of others have said that the earth is a classroom and you're growing and learning from everything you experience, and when your backs are against the wall and you don't feel like you can stand existing in your lower dimensional reality any longer, remember that love exists and constantly sits around you. Your reality is comprised of dense vibrations that the entities who are active in keeping humanity unaware have a lot of stake in, but you don't have to let them or their influence, or the influence of the ego in general, stop you from excelling and welcoming the light into your perception and the perceptions of everyone around you. Despite the dense nature of the lower vibrations, your earth is a very beautiful place. We mentioned at the start of this communication that outer sunshine can equal inner sunshine and vice versa, and will continuously reinforce this until every conscious seeker is aware of it. Regardless of the difficult nature of your existence, you're meant to enjoy it. You aren't meant to endlessly stress, live in fear, or knowingly feed into qualities that keep you spiritually numb, and instead, you're welcome to seek Source and Spirit by way of your thoughts, words, and actions in every moment. You're in for a far more enjoyable existence than you realize, and you're far more able to enact change than many of you have given yourselves credit for. Nobody needs to worry about the influence of lower entities or the strength of the ego they seek to influence you through, because the lower vibrations are becoming increasingly purified. Lower entities have been involved in influencing your reality, and the egos of each human who doesn't realize that they're contributing to the unfortunate situation your planet's in, carry a lot of responsibility for this condition, but higher energies are gradually yet surely descending down, and you can welcome them if you're particularly willing and attuned. We'll make our final expressions for this communication with appreciation to our scribe and every seeker out there who's starting to use their spiritual connections to help the rest of the conscious public and, eventually, all of humanity. Your gifts are more important and attainable than we can express, and when they seem to have dried out, remind yourselves that you aren't finite vessels, you're infinite conduits for their expression. Keep this in mind, and everything you seek will flow smoothly, as if by magic. Thank you to my higher self and spiritual guides. Channeled through Wes Anak. cultureofawareness.com